Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for February 14th, 2021. So, yes, it is Valentine's Day, and I am snowed in. Well, snowed in for Oregon. We don't get very much snow in Portland, Portland area. And when we do, it pretty much shuts things down because we don't drive in snow. Let's just be honest. Mostly because, in case you didn't know, usually our snow is accompanied or preceded by ice. So my brother on Friday got to go to work. My job, they had us all not come in because we were farther out of town. But my brother goes to work every day that he has to work, and he said there was like ice underneath the snow. And I'm pretty sure it kind of iced over the snow. So at least one of my friends in another part of the town said that. So there's a lot of ice out there. I'm not leaving. And I haven't left since Thursday afternoon. So it's been a quiet weekend here. The week was pretty normal before that. Just we knew the storm was coming. And yes, most of us wanted the snow just so we didn't have to work. But, you know, now I'm a little concerned that I might not get to go to work tomorrow because of what it looks like out there, but we will see. So that is the weather update for here in Beaverton, Oregon. Anyway, so yeah, so again, it's Valentine's Day, not my favorite holiday. I know a lot of people love this holiday. Some of them it's their favorite. It is not mine. And that just deals with childhood trauma. Things did not go so well sometimes when on Valentine's Day for me. So I've just never really liked it. It's been like that always. So no big deal that, you know, I'm by myself. I don't mind with the cats. It's okay. Anyway, to get past that, since I've already talked so much, sorry. We're going to talk about the books that I finished this week, the ones that I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. Which is always a big question mark, because it really is a big question. I have like all these books I want to read right now, and I'm in the middle of stuff, and so now I'm not, I don't know. So last week I had finished, I think, most of the books I was reading before Sunday morning. So I was at a place where I should have been able to, you know, start a book, start a book and then, you know, read it and then start another. No. So I started like 3 books on Sunday, and it's just, I do not do well with that, but I wanted to read everything. I wanted to start everything. And I am noticing that I do that more often now. I think I used to do it much more when I was younger, when I didn't have as much time to read. And I would do that, and then of the books I would pick one, and then I would finish that, and then I'd decide if I want to come back and read the other ones. And a lot of times I didn't, which is why there are quite a few books on my shelves that I've read partial of and never gone back to, which is probably another project I need to do at one point. I do have a list of books that I've started and never completed that are really old. But anyway, so I started did I start 3 or 4? No, I started before so I had started before Sunday, but I started then 3. So I had 4 new books that I was trying to read. I am in the middle. I still have one that I haven't completed, one I DNF'd, and 2 of them that I did complete. So yeah, the results are still not very good. Anyway, so let's talk about my DNF first, because it was the first one to drop along the wayside, and it was The History of Bees by Maja Lund. This is translated from the Norwegian by Diane Oakley, I believe. Yeah. So this was my booktube spin book, and it was a fail. I didn't read super far. I read 34 pages in, and I just hated everybody, mostly. Well, maybe not. This has 3 timelines. One is in the future, where there are no bees, and people have to pollinate for the plants, for orchards and things like that. So we deal with a woman who has been doing that since she was young, and that is the way the culture is. And I believe she's in China. Then there is a man in, I can't remember what, 1880s. I don't remember what year it was, but he Okay, so the two male protagonists actually were the reasons I probably DNF'd this. The 1800s timeline was following a man who I think is going to do something with bees, but he was failed in his academic stuff. He had become a businessman, and someone made some comments, and it depressed him, and then he just kind of shut down and let his family starve. Anyway, the point is, I don't know. Sorry, that's in the first 30 pages, so I don't think I'm giving a whole lot away there, but it was annoying, and I just didn't care. And then the third timeline was I think 2007, and we're following a farmer, or somebody. I think he also has bees, and yeah, he's a beekeeper, and his son has just come back from college, and their relationship is really bad. Probably due to the fact that the son does not want to have anything to do with beekeeping or anything. So, but it was so painful to read. So again, I think this is just not my kind of book. It didn't work for me. Let's just put it that way. I didn't really care for, I didn't care about these characters at all. Like, there was something annoying about all of them. The men more than the woman, but I still didn't like it. And I was just, because I was reading so many other books that I was like much more interested in, I just went, I don't want to read this. And then I got to the point where I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't have to read this. I'm getting rid of it. So, fail on the booktube spin for Amy. So I'm hoping to pick up maybe one or two of the other books that I had on that list before the end of March to kind of count for that. But my number 15 on the booktube spin was a dud for me. I think other people would like that. Again, I think it was very unlikable characters right off. And I have to like characters at least enough to get me into the story. So, but that's just me. Anyway, so you guys might like that, or you might have liked it in the past. I have a problem with that. My point is, it just didn't do anything for me. So I let it go, because I had too many books on the go anyway. And it's sad that I bought it, and now I'm going to get rid of it, but, you know, whatever. So then I had two of the books, so that's the book I DNF'd. So then I had two nonfiction that I finished this week. The Hidden Face of Eve by Naval Sadawa? Dawi? Sorry. So I don't remember when I picked this up. I think I picked it up last year or the year before, and I know I heard about her. So this was translated from the Arabic by Sharif Hitata, and this was fantastic. So early January, I read Sex and Lies, about the sex lives of Arab women, written by Layla Salamani. And that was so powerful. And it was mostly about Morocco, but it talked about the Arab world, kind of the women and their situations. This was kind of the same thing, but more with the Egypt focus, because Nawal, she was Egyptian. This is actually, that one had only come out a couple of years ago. And again, it was in translation for Invisible Cities that I read. And this is my one for the Invisible Cities this month for Egypt. And this is over 40 years old, but it was still so poignant. I mean, I still had to remind myself, okay, this is not, this is from the mid to late 70s is when this was published. But it's still so poignant, because I read that other book from the Morocco, from that area, but it still had the same themes and talked about the same things in here, and how similar they still are 40 years later. Now, there are some advances and some differences, because the world has changed in a lot of ways, and those countries have changed too. But there were so many things about the life of the women and things they had to go through that were just, well, horrific, and things I don't understand or have to deal with. And it was just so hard in certain points. The first half of this book is very much more on some of the cruelties and some of the really bad things that right now, or in the 1970s, was still happening or had been happening for decades in a lot of those countries. Again, she does focus on Egypt a lot, but she talks about from other countries some of the things they're doing and what advances they had made by the 70s. I mean, it was just amazing to read it. And then I'd have to remind myself that it really wasn't some of those things that they were having trouble with the patriotic system and the way the woman was supposed to stay in the home and not be out of the home, and then they were trying to move past that, but it was still having issues with men who would yell at women for just leaving the home. And it was just like, and again, the first couple chapters were intense. I do have to mention that for trigger warnings of just brutality to women. And it was so hard for me to read those chapters. I think she was super brave to write what happened to her as a child. And, it was really horrible. And this book was so good. Like, as in, I wanted to keep reading this. And again, it was so hard. I could only read so much of it, and then I'd have to put it down, at least in the beginning. The second half of the book is very fascinating, and it talks more about, it was more about the nowadays in the 70s when, again, this was written, but it was also talking about the history of how Arab women have been, or have had power and have not had power, and in what instances they had it and lost it, and how things have changed. And I think she does really well showing the different religions and how they weren't that much worse off than Christianity and Judaism, and she put them all against those, like, to show, this isn't the worst one at this time period, and in this, it's just there's a lot of how foreign influences in the 70s, or during, but after the World War II and on, kind of those have been the reason why certain things looked worse than they really were in what they were doing. It was a really fascinating book. I wish I remembered where I had seen this before. And again, I searched for this book. I think this is one of my first books I bought off eBay because I wanted this book so bad at the time. And then it still took me over a year to get to it. And I'm so glad it popped up as Invisible Cities as one of the countries, because I did want to read this. And I definitely want to read more of her work. I know she did like a certain, another book called Women and Sex, which I think is a smaller book, but I haven't figured out in what collection that must be in, because the book itself is not in print at this point, or else I can't find it. So I do want to find her other book that, she doesn't reference it a lot. It was referenced more in the introduction, which was really good as well, in the preface. Yeah, and she has an introduction to this English version, which was really good as well. It was just, this was fantastic, hard-hitting, very direct. Her writing is very, very sharp, like, as in, she just says it, like, and she has her own opinion. There's a few things that are clearly, it's her opinion of, especially when we talk about the patriarchy system and how that is the main problem behind everything. I think most of her points I would say are right on, but there was a few of them that you could tell that was her opinion, and not everybody's going to agree with her on that. And I'm not talking about men, I'm talking about women. So, take that. I just thought this was fantastic. I'm so glad I read this, and I definitely am going to pick up some of her fiction. I have one coming from the library to try, and I want to read and see how those come out to me, because her nonfiction was fantastic. I would like to read more of her writings. And again, for something written 40 years ago, I got a lot out of this, and it was so brutal. The beginning was just so hard to read, but just so, I just think it was so impactful. So I really enjoy this again. Clearly a 5-star. This was just, I'm so glad I read that for now. So then the other nonfiction that I finished was The Home Place, Memoirs of a Colored Man's Love Affair with Nature by Drew Lanham. So this was for the Book Naturalist book club that's put on by Heidi at My Reading Life and Doris at All D Books. They do it mostly on Instagram. But this is the February pick. I didn't get to do the January pick because my book's still not come in. I'm so far down on the hold list. It's probably going to be another month or two before I get it. So I did get to pick up this one. This one was available right away, so I was able to get it. So I read it. This one, okay. So I liked this, but this is one of those memoirs where it's hard for me to say that I got a lot out of it. So it does talk about this man, Drew, and how his childhood home farm is the home place. And so he focuses the first half of the book kind of on that and on his grandparents and his parents and his brothers and sisters and how, you know, things that happened there and how it was set up. And that was all very interesting. I don't know if I was like, that was really what I was looking for in this book when I read the subtitle. But I did like that because, again, my dad grew up on a farm and we still own the property. We don't farm the land anymore, but we rent that to somebody else, but we still own it. So it's in the family still. But this was interesting because they worked the land and they had cows, and we did have cows when my grandfather was alive. And but you know, it was like one of those things where I could relate to the first half, I guess. I didn't grow up on a farm, but my dad did. So Anthem was Drew was born in 1965. So there's a time difference between him and me. So there's also that kind of looking back at things that his parents and his grandparents went through that are a little different from what my relatives and family would have gone through because of just time jumps and things. And again, he is a black man, so in South Carolina? Oh, now I've just lost it. I'm sorry. Yeah, South Carolina. So, I mean, again, totally different. But what I'm saying is that I liked the first half, but I was still kind of waiting for the love affair with nature. Even though he was talking about the farm and little bits about it, there were little vignettes of the nature, but it just, I didn't think it was enough. And then the second half was more his adulthood. And part of that was just kind of lost on me. I don't know if it's because when he was going to college and things like that, he didn't really know. I mean, he knew what he wanted to do, but he got kind of put into a different direction to school because, you know, to be successful and stuff. Because, I mean, the man is smart and the writing is good. That's not the problem for this. I just didn't find the link to nature quite as strong as I was hoping for, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think it's still a good memoir. I think it probably was really nice for him to have this history of his childhood and things that happened in his life up until when he published this. I don't know. I felt like there's a lot of nature books that I've read or memoirish kind of books that I just got more out of it nature-wise. I'm not sure. The last couple chapters were really good though, when they talk about his ancestry in the area and some of the things that came out with that. I thought that was really well done. So it ended really well. I thought that was just very fascinating. But it was just an okay, like I don't think I got enough out of it. It wasn't a hard read. It took me all week. I read a little bit here and there, and then I finished it up on Friday. And but by then I was like, I just wanted to get it done kind of thing. So I don't know. So it was okay. I still liked it, and I still think it's good. It wasn't fantastic. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how to say it. But anyway, it was just kind of So let's go on to the books I'm in the middle of, because I'm in the middle of a lot of books for me. It's been, as I said, I started all those books. So I'm still reading An English Bride in Scotland by Lindsay Sands. I didn't touch it last week, which is why I didn't mention it last week. I just didn't read any ebooks at work, but I decided to get back to the writing. It's so much easier for me to read at lunch if I can read off my phone than it is for me to bring a book and try to hold the book while I'm trying to eat. And I only have a half hour, so there's only a lot of time. And I really don't have like standardized breaks. Like I don't stop and read for 10 minutes. A lot of times I'll catch a couple of sentences and then I have to do something. Anyway, but it's just easier with using my phone. So this is, again, it's a historical romance about Annabelle, and who was supposed to be a nun and very close to taking the veil when she is taken from the convent and taken home and immediately married to a Scottish lord that her father had promised her older sister to, but her older sister has run off with the stable master's son. So we have Annabelle, who is completely does not know much about the world. She's been at the convent since she was 7, and she's now 21, and she's like, or I think that's right. It was, yeah, something like that. Yeah, so she was like, has no idea. And then we have Ross, who he does this because his father had made this, had made this deal, or this contract many years ago when the other man had saved his life in a war kind of thing. And, you know, it's taken him years to finally come and collect her due to the fact of in clan wars when his father had passed away and then stuff he had to take care of. So anyways, so he comes to get her, and he does learn that she is not the firstborn and that technically she's not the one, but he still marries her for all this stuff because, again, she's beautiful. Anyway, I'm just kidding. It's really cute. But so this is really, there's a lot of funny moments. Lindsay Sands is one of my favorite comedic kind of, she writes, you know, the Argonaut vampire series, which I need to get back to. I haven't read that one in a really long time. But I wanted to try her Scottish, I think this is the Highland, oh, I don't remember the name of the series. It's like Highlander something. Oh, I don't know. Sorry guys, I don't remember the series name, but this is the first book in the series. Yeah, I can't remember what the title, the series call is, but there's like 8 or 9 books because, again, she writes a lot. So I picked this up because I liked what was the new one that just came out like this month. And I'm like, I want to read that book, but I want to read them in order. So of course I started it, and I found I had this one on my Kindle. At some point I'd bought it. So anyway, so I'm about halfway through, or well, a little bit over halfway, because I'm about 200 pages in of like 350. So it's just fun. There's a little mystery about somebody who keeps showing up that is trying to steal her away. We don't know why, because now they're back in Scotland. Or they're now in Scotland. So but it's funny. I think it's so cute. It's just so cute. And I like their chemistry. So again, it's a good romance. So again, I've been reading that as my workbook. The one I read when I'm at work. Because, yeah, as I said, I'm trying to read more ebooks this year, and so far I haven't done very well. This is the first one I've been reading, so I'm hoping to finish it this next week, so then I can read something else. Again, as I said, I'm trying to get better about picking up what I own. So the other book that I had started on Sunday and have not got back to is The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu, which is translated from the Chinese by Joel Martinson. So this was my China pick for Invisible Cities. So this book has been on my shelf for 4 or 5 years since it came out, and I have the whole trilogy. I read The Three Body Problem. This is the second book in the Remembrance of Earth's Past. I read The Three Body Problem when it first came out because I was just so excited to try science fiction that came out of China. I'd never read anything like that, and I really enjoyed it, even though it was really hard to get through in a lot of ways. But I had to wait for these to come out, and then I waited for paperbacks. So I was like, well, I'm not going to buy hardbacks because I don't usually. So it's been a long time. So I went and read synopsises online about the Three Body Problem just to kind of remind myself. And I remembered a lot of it, but not everything. So I started this, and I read 54 pages, and I'm just not sure I want to read this. I don't know. So, I don't know. It's not that it was bad. It was just, I just was kind of meh. So again, this is science fiction. Alien contact has happened in the first book, and now we're in the waiting period from the time that they're supposed to come. And there are 2 groups of people who want the aliens to come and just to take over and destroy or get rid of all the humans, but maybe keep a few of them, but mostly just, mostly get rid of everybody else. And then there's the ones who want to leave the planet to get away from them. And then there might be a group that, I don't know, I'm not sure. That's as far as I got. I think there might be another group or 2 that have different agendas. Again, it's not that I don't like it. I just don't know if I like it enough to continue. So I don't know. Have you guys read this series? I'm kind of on the fence. I keep telling myself I need to read at least 50 more pages and see if I want to continue. I think it's just over 500 pages. Yeah, it's like 512 pages. And I've only read 50 pages. And I do own this 3rd book already. So I kind of want to give it like one more shot. So today I might try to read the next 50 pages and see how I feel. If I decide I'm just still like meh, I'm not gonna read it, but I'm gonna give it one more shot. I have had it on my shelf for a long time. I did plan to read this series. It was too long since I don't want to reread the first book. It wasn't that good. It was good, but it wasn't stellar. Anyway, so I'm not sure on that one. I did start my reread of the Barchester Towers by Anthony Trollope. I mean, okay, so I read 104 pages, something like that, year and a half ago. And then I got distracted with life and stuff like that. So this is book 2 in the Barchester series, or Chronicles of Barchester. I'm reading them with a group online. And I read The Warden. I reread The Warden in January to prepare for this. And then Barchester Towers is the book for February and March. So I was hoping to get today to 140, which is the first check-in kind of thing. We're going to have that today. So I only made it 70 pages yesterday. So I'm going to attempt to read some of that today. Maybe in the next day or so I'll catch up. And then I have to, as I said, it's like over 600 pages. I can't remember exactly. It's like, no, maybe it's not 600. Maybe it's like 500 and, looks like 560 pages. So it's still a long book. But again, as I said, I was hoping to get this done before March, because March I'm going to be reading March of the Mammoth, I'm reading Mammoth, the Count of Monte Cristo. So I kind of want to get some stuff done, but I might only get like the 2 sections that I'm supposed to do for February and then keep reading this during March. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I'm hoping this follows a few of the characters from The Warden. So we've Mr. Harding's in here, and then Dr. Grantley, who is the Archbishop, Dr. Grantley's father, who was the Bishop of Barchester, Barchester, has passed away, and there's a new bishop has been brought in, Dr. Prouty, and the people his wife is just involved in church politics, as also as he brings in Mr. Slope, which is the most horrible. I mean, not horrible. I mean, he's just ill. I don't know why people. Anyway, he's the chaplain, and he comes in thinking he's going to take over and pretty much run things. And so, of course, there's going to be kind of like a war of who is in power, and Prouty doesn't handle that very well either. So it's going to be the new bishop and how it all goes with the family. There is a really hilarious scene that I read right before I stopped reading this the first time, that I'm looking forward to, that's coming up here in a couple of chapters. So I do want to read this. I still want to get this done. So again, this is something that I'll be working on for, if not this month, it'll also be next month. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, but I have started again from the beginning. So I've read 70 pages. I need to get to 140 today to be technically caught up with the Instagram group that I'm reading it with. So hopefully I'll do that today. We'll see. And then I'm also rereading Wolf Rain by Nalini Singh. So this is my reread right now. I picked it up when I was before my medical procedure, because I needed something to read, but I didn't want to focus on anything too strongly. So I picked up this because I know I've read this book multiple times already. This is book 18 in the Side Changeling series. So yes, please don't start here. Again, one of my favorite paranormal romance series. This is following Wolf Shifter and a Sai. So again, this is where the world is the Sais and the Shifters, and the humans are all vying for power. It's a great overarching story, but I love the individual books for their couples. And again, I just picked this one off. I just randomly picked one. So that's what I did. Anyway, so I read a lot of it yesterday. Yesterday, my mind didn't want to focus too much. I think I'd read too much on Friday, which was our snow day. So I'd read a lot of A Hidden Face of Eve and The Home Place, trying to finish those off. Because I had these grand plans of what I was going to do all weekend, because I'm trapped here with, But of course, yesterday my brain went, nope, we're not doing any of that. So I did get as I said, I got my 70 pages of Barchester Towers, but then my brain melted and I went to this. So I'm like 100 pages from the end. I'm probably going to finish this up as well today, or, this week. As I said, it's not a rush. It's a reread. Anyway, which I love. Anyway, so those are the ones I'm in the middle of, and kind of what I'll be, as I said. Well, as I said, the Dark Forest, I'm not sure what's going to happen with that yet until I read a little bit more. Barchester Towers is going to be ongoing, and then I'll finish off Wolf Rain, and again, An English Bride in Scotland is probably one I will probably finish up this next week, just so I can pick another ebook. But again, I'm pretty confident about that. So I have like 5 books I want to start right now. So here we are again on a Sunday, where even though I have some books that I still need to read, that I really wanted to start some new books. So I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see how this morning goes. But I'm just going to flash through the 3 that, oh my gosh, I talk way too much. So really, these are the 5 that I would like to read. I would like to get to The Winter King by C.L. Wilson, which is a fantasy romance. I would like to read A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. Again, I want to replace my BookTube Spin prize for one of the other books. And this is historical fiction, which I haven't got to yet this month again. I also have Fruit of the Drunken Tree by Ingrid Rojas Contreras. That is the book I want to read for Columbia, which is also for the Invisible Cities. So this, I was planning on reading this either this week or the last week of the month, so I still have a time for that one, but it's on the list. I want to do it. If I don't like or I decide not to read The Dark Forest, I want to pick up A Hero Born, is the first book in the Legends of the Condor Heroes by Jin Young, which is translated from the Chinese by, where's the translator? By Anna Homewood. So I wanted to have a backup in case I didn't read that one, but because I do want to start this fantasy series. It's supposed to be one of the favorites fantasy series. I mean, I got a science fiction. Anyway, we'd like to do that. And of course, This Is Still Calling Me is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, just to try it again. I did try it when it first came out, and at the time I had not read any other grimdark. I still haven't read a whole lot of grimdark, but I really feel like I should try him and give him a better shot than I did the first time. So anyway, but I want to read all those right now, and I need to finish some. So my reading is messed up for me. I don't like it when I get to this point. And it's just annoying. So anyway, let's do my little whiteboard. So I did add my little DNF up here just so I could put a check mark. Not that I want to do a lot of DNFs, but I do DNFs. So I did do, for Invisible Cities, translated work. I did 1, and then I did a but both of the ones I finished were nonfiction, so I get 2 for nonfiction. And then, was that it? I think that's it. That's all I did this week. But I do have, again, 2 nonfictions. One of them was one was translated, but I did DNF. So anyway, I'm not super, again, it's the end of the second week. It would be nice if I had some more, but yeah, that's where I'm at. So anyway, I think that's it. So what are you guys reading? Anything interesting? Any of these that you want to talk to me about, or tell me that I have to read them, or I could just stop? Let me know. Anyway, and I don't know if I'm going to go to work tomorrow, so I might have another day. I might have to take another vacation day tomorrow, which would be nice, actually. I wouldn't mind that, and I'll do some more reading. We'll see what happens. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.